Our two conference coordinators are going to be leading the discussion. Janet McClinney, which wave Janet, and Emery are going to be walking you through the system. Please make sure that you're sharing any questions because we are recording this so that your fellow presenters can watch it asynchronously and be able to learn from it. So anything that is even just popping up in your mind, please feel free to share. And with that, we will get you started so that we can use your time as effectively as possible.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to mute all of you for now, but please feel free to put questions in the chat as needed. And so either myself or Emery will try to address those as we're going in the call. Emery might just be chatting back to you, and we'll spend some time at Q&A towards the end, but I'll actually be walking you through, sharing my screen and then walking through a quick training video. And then after that, I will do the same functions you see in the video, but live for us in this moment. And then just to show a quick example. And what I'm going to be showing you today is the platform where you as a speaker can go in, load your slides, load any ancillary content you may have, and actually record your session. So you don't have to be self-recording in a Zoom call or in some sort of other movie software. You can do it all in this webinar platform that we have through the event, and you'll be getting a direct link just to your presenter link. I'll walk through exactly what that looks like, but let me admit our next person, and I'm going to get started here, and we'll start with that video. Again, we are recording, so if you have questions, if you missed something, if you need to go back and look at anything, I'll be sharing the exact training video that I'm displaying through this call, and we'll be sharing this recording. So lots of chances to go back and re-watch anything, because I know sometimes you need to see it more than once. And apologies, I'm a little bit northern. I go fast, I talk fast. So if I need to slow down, if I need to repeat something, just raise a little hand or put it in the chat, and Emery will tell me to pipe it down a little. All right, so I will share my screen. All right, and we will play the video. Oops, I'm gonna start it a little at the beginning real quick. There we go. And Emery, do we have audio on that? Are we good? Thumbs up?
No, I think you'll need to unplug your headset. So when it plays, you can hear the audio over.
Interesting, okay.
Conduct a poll and other helpful tips within
All right.
So we lost the audio actually. Can you raise the volume?
Volume's all the way up. I wonder if it's something in the settings that's not letting the video play audio.
Is it set to play computer audio like when you start to share screen?
That's what I was just wondering. I was like, it could have been with my screen share settings. Let me pause the share. Share computer sound. There we go. And then that should work for us.
Resume share. And let me resume my little video real quick. And I'll start it over.
Welcome to your presenter training video. This video will provide a step-by-step instruction on how to record a session, upload supporting documents, videos, conduct a poll, and other helpful tips within the Presenter Console website. At this point, you have received an email with a URL link for the Presenter Console website. This link is unique to your assigned session. To access the console website, you must first register by entering your first and last name, as well as your email address. Once you've successfully logged in, you will be asked how you'd like to connect. You will connect with your computer and select Use Camera, which will access your computer's camera. Once your camera connects, you will see yourself in the top left corner of your screen. At the top right of your screen is a presenter navigation bar. Here, you can mute your camera, mute your audio, view presenters, view your devices, and hang up. Click the View Device tool in the navigation bar to view the devices you will use to record yourself. Should you have any external devices, they will appear here. A good way to test your audio is to unmute your mic, ensuring the waveforms are moving. To test your camera, simply mute your camera, then unmute. On the left side of your screen is the slide navigation bar. This has your slide organizer, content, presentation, team chat, attendees, help, and sign out. Let's go ahead and prepare a presentation. Click here to upload your PowerPoint. If you wish to include any videos, click Videos and then click here to upload. Should your presentation require polls, click Add Poll, create your poll question, then click Add to add the poll to your presentation. Lastly, if you'd like to add a URL to your presentation, click URL and add the URL link here. Be sure the URL starts with http://. To organize your content, go to Slide Organizer. Click on and hold the content and simply drag to rearrange. Once your content is uploaded and organized, you will make sure that you are in control of the webinar. Recheck that your audio and camera are unmuted. Now you are ready to record. Press the green record button. Once pressed, a 5-second countdown will begin. You are now recording your presentation. Content that is being shown to the audience will appear with a red banner reading Live. You can advance your slides by simply clicking Next. To go back, click Previous. We recommend checking the Live banner during your presentation so you can ensure your content is live. To queue up content, click on the content you wish to prepare. You will see a blue banner that reads Preview. To play video content, click Push to Audience. Then, press the play button that appears in the middle of the video. To return to your slides, click on the window with your PowerPoint and then click Push to Audience. To poll the audience, click Polls. You will see the preview banner, then click Push to Audience. Then you can return to your content. Once you've finished your presentation, you will now end the recording by clicking the red End button at the top of your screen. If you wish to re-record your presentation, you will click Record Again. You will connect your computer and camera and finally press Record Again to re-record your session. You can find and select the recording you wish to use here. This completes your presenter training.
Great. So like I said, I'll share that video out again, but I did want to show it. It is super helpful. It's a little bit more of a quick snapshot versus you having to go back through this longer session to look for the particular snippets you might be looking for. But I will dive a little deeper and show a little bit more here. So as long as you guys can still see my screen, which I think you can, this is the form that you would see just at the start. So no matter what, you will have to complete this as you are coming in to the presenter console. And if there's more than one presenter on your session, each of you will get the same link, but you'll all have to complete that little section. And this is that choose how to connect function that was just shown in that video. So we'll connect via computer. And what I'll actually do before I connect and my camera is I'm going to disable my camera on the Zoom because it does not love for me to be streaming my camera on Zoom and then try to stream in webinar.net. So you won't see me here for a few moments, but you will see me pop up in the webinar.net eventually. So I will connect via use camera. And I can unmute my camera there. And you will see me pop up over here. So you'll see yourself there whenever you are recording. And you can check your background, check your lighting, check, you know, I could be like, ooh, I don't want that picture frame behind me and decide to change my mind. I can unmute my audio, which I will do in a few minutes. I did want to walk through a few other things here. This is presenter chat. This will pop up for you automatically. This is less relevant if you are a solo presenter, but if you are presenting with a few other colleagues and you're going to all be recording simultaneously, you want all of your little faces to show up here, you can chat amongst yourselves here. This chat won't record, but it's a great way to toggle or to prompt one another if you are in a joint session, group, or a panel. So that's a great feature. I like to point it out. This is also a good feature for just in general, if you need to make a change or something like that, or you notice something, you can kind of flag each other that way. So I will toggle that away for now, but if you ever needed to get it back, it lives over here on this side navigation bar. Presenter chat, if you click that, it will pop it back up for you. This navigation bar was touched on a little bit in that video, but I'll talk through each section here as well. Content being king, obviously. So you will load up your slides. And again, if you have multiple presenters, you can each load your individual slide decks here, and you wouldn't need to combine them into one file. You can load more than one PowerPoint file. So you would just hit, I've already got the NABT PowerPoint in here, but you just hit upload, browse, and if I grab that PowerPoint template again, it will upload for me there. Videos, again, this is the same kind of concept. If you wanted to upload a small ancillary video, you're more than welcome to. That'll upload pretty standard. I won't practice that just so that you don't have to sit and watch a video compress, but you did see that in the training video, and if you had questions about it, you're more than welcome to follow up. But it's pretty straightforward. The polls feature we did talk about in that training video, but it's not relevant for NABT. You don't have to do a poll. You don't need to do a poll. It's something we touch on in the video because some other groups have required them, so you can kind of ignore that piece. The URLs, I will point out, that can be helpful if there's any point in which you would normally want to have a link in a PowerPoint presentation where you would try to click out from PowerPoint and it doesn't let you, it gets kind of clunky. You can instead have that URL live directly in here, and you could link to it to show that on the presentation screen. So that's a nice little feature. So in this instance, if I wanted to add a URL, I could come grab the NABT.org site. And like Adam said in the video, you have to make sure you grab the full URL. Don't just grab NABT.org, grab the HTTPS. And add. And hit add. Oops, nope, that's it, to add another one. All right. So you've added your content in, and now you want to go to your slide organizer. Great thing about this is that obviously your slideshow already exists, it's likely already organized, but if you and if you're in here and you're like, oh man, I actually really think with the flow I need slide 2 to go before slide 1, you can swap those around in this program. This is just great, especially if you do need to embed a link somewhere in the middle or a video somewhere in the middle where it would otherwise live kind of in your presentation. You can pull that and drag that around to wherever it may need to go. So that's a great feature to just know where that lives. That's in that kind of grid format icon there. Presenter chat we talked about. Attendees, this isn't relevant for pre-recording, so you can ignore that one. Group chat. This will be here and available, but it kind of pulls through automatically into the platform. So this is part of the integration that we have between this webinar.net tool and the YouGo virtual platform, which is the full virtual event platform that we're utilizing. So though it lives in here, that is to make sure it's on so that attendees can use it and you can use it, you'll actually be hosting and completing those chat functions from the YouGo virtual platform. So you don't need to worry about that now when you're recording your session whatsoever, but I do point out that it's there and it lives, lives through here, but you don't need to do anything. This help function you should never need to use. If you need help as you're presenting, you can reach out to us, and we're more than happy to assist you. And so what I will do now is toggle back to the presentation itself and practice a recording so that you can see that function. So I just turned my audio back on, and you can see I've got the movement of the wave that Adam talked about in his video. And what we're also going to do is, I did a recording earlier today, so that one was available. Actually, I'm not seeing the option for me to re-record this. I might have to make it again. Maybe because I left it for too long. So I've got my presentation. I'm in control. Emery, I wonder if you join me on this, we can show two presenters in here and potentially show a re-record just to show the toggle of control and show two faces on a screen.
Definitely. Yeah, if you'll just chat me the link, I'll jump on.
Yes, of course. One moment. All right, and I will send that over to you. Just so that you can see that in case that applies to any of you. Do you want to be sure? Keeping this well-rounded, and apologies to those of you who are solo presenters and do not need this function. But I want to make sure that this recording is comprehensive. Oh, there we go. Apologies for the delay. My Teams is not loving that I'm streaming myself on a webinar and I'm in a Zoom and I'm trying to chat at the same time. My computer is like, what are you doing, lady? Okay. All right, I might have to forego that because my chat is not functioning, Emery, unless you wanted to log in and grab it.
Yeah, I'll log in. In the meantime, do we have any questions so far? And Janet can definitely take those just over the line if you want to unmute yourself and just ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
I was wondering, I just put it in the chat, but if I was supposed to present by myself, if a friend wants to help me, can I share the link with them so that they're able to like do the session with me or help me with the chat during the actual session?
So NABT will have a person in each session to help with single presenters. If you have, you know, somebody who is going to be registered for the conference who you want to help do the chat or monitor the chat while you're presenting it, we can also arrange that as long as they're registered for the conference. But NABT is going to make sure that there's somebody there to assist you while everybody is online doing their sessions.
Okay. So if I pre-record my session and I'm there to do the chat while the session, during my session time, there will be at least one other person who's there to help just monitor the chat.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we are hoping to overly support you all this year since it's our first year doing it this way.
Okay.
Hi, this is Dana. I have a question, or I guess if you can just remind me. We're supposed to pre-record our session, and then during our actual session time on the agenda, are we going to be able to interact synchronously with our participants? And if so, is it possible to do breakout rooms or anything like after they've watched the pre-recorded session?
Sure. So there's that group chat that I showed will live linked through to the full virtual platform, and that's where all of the attendees will be watching and engaging with your session. So you will be able to visit your session during the scheduled time slot, be engaging with them in that chat, and then, as Jackie had said, as a part of the volunteers and kind of NABT moderators that are going to be there to assist you, if you wanted to or needed to and felt like you had a lot of engagement in that chat, we could move you to a Zoom chat after your live, quote unquote, live pre-recorded session slot has ended.
We would move you to an NABT Zoom room so that we are controlling and moderating it, but also recording it, because that Zoom room will then have to be synced, or that Zoom conversation will have to be synced with your pre-recorded session so that when it's on demand, people will actually get your pre-recorded session plus all of the conversation that's happening in Zoom. So for shorter sessions like the 30-minute sessions, we expect that for 30 minutes, by the time you set up what you're talking about, do your engage activities, you are probably going to be in chat before your time runs out. For the 60-minute sessions, we absolutely do not expect you to record a 60-minute video. Please don't. just please don't do that. But we'll have the pre-recorded session, and then you will chat with the moderator and say, I want to jump into a Zoom room. We'll put the Zoom link to that room into the chat. People can then go into the Zoom room if they want to do some of the activities or have the conversation or do breakout rooms or you know, whatever you are trying to whatever content you're effectively trying to have your people learn about. And the moderator will be there to help you get everybody set up, get into their rooms, and then you just continue for the remainder of what your session time is. Does that make sense?
I think so. So we could have our people watch a pre-recorded, say, 20-minute session, and then after they've watched that, we could open the Zoom room, because we do have an interactive activity where we wanted to do breakout rooms. So it sounds like that could work. Am I thinking about this properly?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
So we will be following up with all of our presenters after this call with the slide deck and this training link and your link to get into the system.
Okay.
We didn't want to send it to you before, so you didn't open it up and go, whoa. And then what we'll do is we'll invite everybody, if we, and I think we put this in the previous link, if you know that you are going to be doing interactive sessions and you're going to need Zoom, we need to know as soon as possible so that we can connect you with your moderator knows. We can have you have a Zoom room already assigned, and we can get you all set up so that you have as seamless a transition as possible.
Okay.
Do you
Thank you.
guys, because this is the first time you're doing this, but this platform has been used for other conferences. Do you
Yes.
guys expect that people are going to probably be more likely to just kind of jump in and jump out because they can always catch the recordings? Or do you think people are going to be like in the conference, oh my God, this session's over, I got to run to my next session, so after this 30 minutes, I'm not going to have time to, you know, do a Zoom call?
We have no idea.
Yeah.
We have no idea how NABT members and
Yes.
attendees are going to react to this. In an in-person conference, they tend to stay. It's the interactivity and the conversations with this presenter and their fellow participants that keep them in the rooms. We don't have a bunch of people, you know, walking around looking for their next session. How this goes after everybody has been teaching online for a semester and how people navigate their time is going to be, I don't want to make any predictions.
Yep.
What we do want to do though is make sure that all presenters feel like they are going to be presenting to a packed house, because there's a very real chance that you might only have a few people in your session at this time that you have scheduled, but you might actually have hundreds of people viewing your session on demand.
Mhm.
And we want to make sure that those people who are viewing the sessions on demand are able to interact with the chats. We are going to talk to presenters about making yourselves available or putting your emails up so people who are watching your sessions on demand can contact you with questions. NABT is leaving this platform up from conference weekend, which starts November 6th. And we're doing a preview on November 5th, all the way till the end of 2020. So teachers can come in and be looking at this content, you know, in late November, early December. The other thing though is we want to encourage all of our presenters. There is a really nice chat feature where you can do direct chats in YouGo Virtual. We want to encourage all of our presenters to remind your participants that you are available during chat so that they can, it's kind of the virtual running into you in the hallway. So that you can chat with them and then you can set up a time to meet with them directly in a platform that you feel comfortable using. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, so I mean, it sounds like to me like it's better to have the Zoom option. Like, let's say that I pre-recorded and then I would love to engage in a conversation activity if people want to, but then if there's only 2 people there, maybe, I don't know if that would make sense or not, but like if there were like 10 people there, then I would love to be able to like spend the time.
Sure. So
Sorry, the bell's ringing.
You're good. This is Janet. So what I would say to that is that obviously the Zoom engagement option is great and we want to encourage you all to use it. But I will say to Jackie's point from earlier, the pre-recorded content lives in the platform for the entirety of the life of the NABT virtual conference license. So it lives on. And so making sure you've got some of those engaging pieces and some of those elements in that pre-recorded is going to be important, because obviously if you do hosting a Zoom Q&A or a Zoom engagement post your session, we'll get it recorded and it'll get in the platform. But if somebody sees sees session name, session title, and then session title post Q&A, they may, you know, they'll already have missed the engagement. They'll be watching someone else have the engagement. And so, you know, there's a little bit of pre-record and post-viewing element that's going to be involved here no matter what. But obviously during the live dates, I think people will be engaged. They will want to join those Zooms. And that's why we want to have that option available to you all.
And the other note is, if you only have a 30-minute session and you want to move into a Zoom, once your time is up, we actually have to have our moderators get back into other sessions.
Yes.
And it's almost, you have to kind of clear the room, as whatever the virtual.
Just like you would in person, yeah.
Yeah, aspect of that is. And so that's something to definitely keep in mind as you're recording your video. Do you want to record a longer video and have a longer presentation, or do you want to leave time for more engagement? And you know, we know that this platform is not going to replicate an in-person conference, but we do want to make sure that teachers have that ability to interact, talk to the presenter, ask questions, because that's how learning is done. And so we want to make sure that this is not just a sit and get, because that's not how you teach, so that's not how we're going to present.
We had a question about whether, like, how you can interact within the chat. So like if we were doing a video and we would like ask the audience a question, should we just leave like some dead space in the recording for that and then respond in chat to whatever comes up? Or would it be better to do that in a different way?
No, I wouldn't recommend leaving dead space in the recording. I think you're welcome to say, to queue up that question and say, we'd love to take your responses via chat, and we'll be responding to you live in the chat, like to say something to that extent in your recording, but I wouldn't like leave a pause for it, if that makes sense. And there was another chat related question. If you did, one was about the URL. So if you did include a URL in your presentation, we would recommend that you would also chat it in the group chat to attendees if you wanted that to be accessible to them.
I have a quick question. Sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Erica.
Hi there.
So we were told that we were accepted, but then we were moved to like, there wasn't enough space for us for like a synchronous time. And we were told that we'd be only on demand, and we're not showing, like, as of now, we're not showing up in the conference presentation, like the conference guide online. So does that just mean we're just recording a video and like there's no synchronous time and the video is just up?
Yes. So that is exactly what that means. We are going to move on-demand sessions into the program probably tomorrow online. And it's just going to say on demand, so people know that the sessions will be available. Again, we want you to, you know, as you record videos, say, you know, this is my name, look for me in the chat. That's why we invited you to do this recording, is so that you could learn a little bit more about this training. You could learn a little bit more about how people are going to be able to find you, because you're still attending the conference, you're still going to be there, and so they can watch your session on demand and still ask you questions just via the platform chat, not the session chat. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Janet, just to let you know,
Yes.
we look like we are good here in the top right corner.
Mm-hmm. I saw that. Perfect. So appreciate the little question powwow we all took. As you can see, actually, Emery's camera went away, but we have the presenter view has changed a little bit because Emery's block for her video is there now too. And so I do think that's worth pointing out, that if there's more than one presenter that you're going to kind of show side by side, or you'll eventually show in a grid, Brady Bunch style, like Zoom and everything else. But what we do have the option for is, obviously I've been in here and I've recorded previously, but I want to hit record again. And it'll give you this little countdown to start recording. And that's when that live and then that recording button shows up there. And so I can toggle to my next slide. If I hit that toggle to next, that automatically pushes it to the audience, versus if I come here and I click on the next slide, it's still in that preview mode and I have to engage that push to audience button. So I do think that's worth noting. If you're just toggling to the next thing that you've set up in your slide organizer, it will auto push it. But if you would like to have that available to you just to preview and make sure it's the next slide you wanted, then you can click it in this little grid, preview grid that you have to get that preview button and then be able to push. But you can always toggle back to where you're live and then hit next, and it'll pull up the link for you. And that same push to audience function there. And again, this is a little sneak preview. We will have an NABT slide deck for you all to be putting your presentation slides in, so that there's a bit of, oh, and look, this is a great function to show. Thanks, Emery. So if you have a co-presenter, you can switch controls. So Emery has popped in here and she'd like to take control because it's her turn to speak and it's her set of slides. So I will okay her taking control to do that. And so a nice thing there is that it does give you some autonomy. That's another great place to use that presenter chat if you need to talk amongst yourselves. And then now Emery is toggling between the different content pieces and I'm seeing them change on my screen. So I do think that that's a good feature to share there. But as I was saying, you will get these slides to build your presentation on when you get the email with your link to come in here to the webinar.net platform and record.
And you can also see in the left-hand side, I've messaged Janet while we've been in here on that presenter chat. So you will see a little notification here if one of the presenters has reached out to you. It does not make an audible sound, so you'll really just have to, notice if there's the red numbers on the left-hand side.
Yeah, a little red notification will show up, and then you can click to open that. So just like that, and then you can click to open it.
And then if we are to end this session here, it's going to ask us if we're sure that we would like to end.
Hold on. So I'm sharing my screen. Let me take back control before you end it. So if it's my turn to take back control as the presenter, I take control. Nope. Take back control. All right. And then I will hit this end button once we're sure. Make sure you're sure, and then you're ending. And now you'll see in this instance, I tried to record, I recorded earlier, I didn't love it, I re-recorded now. But one thing that's worth noting too, if you're like, ooh, that recording was perfect, but we still had a little bit of chatter at the beginning, or my dog barked right at the end. You do have an edit function here where you can trim the beginning or the very end of your presentation. So you can come in, you can play it, and you can do some minor editing in here if you need to. So if you had an almost perfect one and you wanted to just make a small tweak, but if you had a few bumps in the road, that's when we would recommend that you totally re-record. So it's not like you screw up in the last minute and you ruin the whole thing. If you really need to, you can edit that recording. So that is a nice function to just point out for you. And again, if I'm like, okay, I've done this 2 times, but I really want to nail it once more on a third, that's when you can come in. You can still see this green button still appears to record again. So that option stays available to you. And just worth noting then, obviously, we as the meeting planning team will be able to see that you've been in here and engaging, see you've loaded your content, see that you may have recorded. But just because we see a recording in here doesn't mean we know it's your final. So we will ask as a part of your presentation recording that you are confirming with us once you have completed your upload and recording. So you'll be getting the email with your presentation link and all that fun stuff, and you can go ahead and reply to that email once you know you are all set to go in the platform and that you do not need to go in and make a change or pre-record or re-record. So I do like to point that out just because otherwise we'll be hunting you down just to make sure you're good to go, or we'll just be using whatever your last version is that's in there. So if you're at the deadline. So I do just like to point out that we won't know unless you let us know that you have your final version slated in here.
Could you clarify? I'm confused, and I can't quite form my question. You said something about pushing to audience, and so I'm just wondering. My understanding is we pre-record and we have it ready by October 9th.
Yes.
Could you tell me what I'm going to be doing the day of my event, like Saturday at 1 p.m.? Like I log in, and then what happens? I'm confused about the push to audience thing. Confused me.
Yeah, push to audience is just the language that's used in here because this is the same platform we would use if it was a live session, like if it was happening in that moment, pulled on the platform. Push to audience is just the language to show that you are making that the main thing that is shown on the presentation, whereas you as presenter can see all your other slides coming up.
Okay.
And attendees only going to see what you've got pushed live,
Okay.
even though you are recording it.
Okay.
And so then on your live day, we'll send follow-ups about this. You know, the session's a little more focused just on getting your session in the platform recorded, all of your content in there. But we'll do a follow-up as we get closer to the show about expectations for the live days. But you'll enter the platform just like any attendee, and you will make your way to the breakout sessions room where you'll find where your session lives. There will be a few channels to choose from. We'll be dictating for you all and sharing a schedule where you can identify where your session lives. You'll go there at your day and time and you will go visit your session just like attendees are, and then you will just be engaging in that group chat that is alongside your pre-recorded session there with the attendees, answering their questions live.
So should they have watched the pre-recorded session beforehand, or
they will be watching it live with you at that time that you are there? So if you show up at 1 p.m., your session isn't going to be available to them to watch until that 1 o'clock time on that Saturday. After it has played, it will be available for the remainder of the time. So anybody that missed it could come back that night at 8 o'clock and watch the session, and they can see the whole chat running alongside.
Okay.
And that also means too that you can return, days after, and if there's conversations that have continued past the original stream or display of the session, then you can also respond to those, and people can take a look at them as well, and etc. And we'll also have some information for the speakers listed on the presenter, like the attendance view and everything, so they'll see like your name and email or all of those kinds of speaker information.
Emery, do we have any other questions coming in the chat that we could help with?
I know one of the questions specifically was regarding to the slide deck. Sorry, I lost it when I was looking at it.
Good. I know there was one Emery answered in there about Google slides, but I'll answer that for the group. No Prezi, no Google slides. Everything has to be in PowerPoint to load in here. So if you're making it somewhere else, go ahead and download it out as PowerPoint and load it up into here.
Can I ask you a question? What if you recorded a Prezi video and then your video is embedded into a Google slide?
So the video, regardless, the Google slide itself would have to be converted to a PowerPoint. You can upload from the recording. It gives you the option to upload a video, so you can do the video itself, but you would have to convert your Google slides to PowerPoint.
That's what I meant. Sorry, PowerPoint. So if I made a Prezi, because I think like a Prezi presentation sometimes looks more, I don't know, it keeps people's attention better and it's more visually pleasing. So if I made it if I took my Prezi presentation and turned it into a YouTube video and embedded the YouTube video into the PowerPoint, that would work.
Honestly, in that scenario, you wouldn't need the PowerPoint. You would just need to upload the video where it has that video content.
Yeah, so in here under content, you may still want to have an introductory slide or two that just has your title and then one that has your email address for folks to follow up. So maybe you make a 2 or 3 slide deck, and then under videos, you would come in and load up your Prezi video. And then when you come to your slide organizer, that's where you could go, okay, intro slide, and then you'd pull your video next. That would be, you would just press play on it. And then you'd have your third slide of like, thank you all, here's my email to follow up, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No problem. Great question. Let's see, any other questions we might have missed or topics that you want to make sure we touch on together for the recording? Jackie, anything top of mind for you?
I have another question.
You're all good.
So the email that we got, because I think I'm doing too many like presentations like in the next few months.
Aren't we all?
What should I just go look for an email
So,
from NABT and
yeah, so you got an initial email that was about this meeting, and that likely included a few other ancillary speaker materials. We've got some like speaker toolkits and all of that fun stuff. We'll resend those to you, but you will get another email. It will either be right after this or sometime tomorrow that'll have your actual presenter link. So where I started from, where it was that little login page, and where you saw me pull that link to send to Emery, you will get just your link that brings you just into your presentation. You will see your session title up top here. So where it says speaker training webinar, it will say best NABT session ever, or whatever your session title is, and you'll know it's yours. And so then from there, that's where you'll be able to get started. And that email will also include this recording. It'll include that little mini speaker training video, and then 2 PDF resources that are great, just like speaker guides, step-by-steps, all that fun stuff. So there's like more than you need because you guys are all capable. You're on here so much, but there's definitely some folks that aren't. So we just want to make sure everybody is equally equipped to be successful at recording these. So
and if we want to
get that email.
If we want to share like files, do you think we should just link like a Google folder into the PowerPoint, or do you want us to do it a different way?
If you want to share files, then your best bet might be a like public shareable Google Drive link that you could include as a URL with your presentation, and then to your point, potentially have it like on your last slide or something, or have someone email you for the files, just depending on how easy it is for them to access.
Okay.
And you can also, like when you're chatting and everything, you can also put the link in the public chat, and that can help too.
Okay, thanks. Today was the first day that I taught like hybrid, like kids in class with kids at home, and my eyes hurt really.
Oh, it's all
really
good.
Badly,
I had that thought. I was like, oh no, this is scheduled on like potentially the worst day ever, but we want to give you guys ample time to do these recordings. We're like, we're still gonna do it, because if people can't make it, we'll send it out. But that's why we're recording this. So if you're like, I don't remember a single thing they said, you can go back and rewatch it.
Plus, we're doing a Q&A in a couple of weeks. So once you get in the system, and if things aren't working, we absolutely will be online to answer some of these questions. We're just we're trying to overly prepare you, but also not overwhelm you. We know you just got back into class. And again, like we put in the email, we will accept recordings if there's a system that you like better than this that you've been using for your classroom. We will accept the recording as long as it's an MP4 or an embedded YouTube video. We can upload those and then use those as well. You don't have to use this, but not everybody has something this robust at their disposal.
Any other questions? Well.
Well, then on behalf of the NABT conference planning team, we thank you for joining us. We know that it's right after the holiday, right after your school day. We will be sending you the follow-up email with the link to this video, the slide decks, your presenter release forms, some best practices for recording some sessions, and your links to the platform. We'll get that out to you no later than Friday, but you will have it this week. Again, we have another follow-up call. We'll send those dates so everybody can do a Q&A if you want. You can always contact the NABT office. We are here to help you as, any way that we can. So don't hesitate to reach out. It's because of you that we are going to have an awesome conference. So we are here to help you. So on behalf of the NABT team, I want to say thank you, and we look forward to getting your questions. Oh, and we have one question. When do we need our recordings done? Janet, what was the deadline we were giving everybody? I'm like, don't make me look it up.
I was gonna say I have to look at a calendar because if I'm gonna quote.
We would like recordings no
yes.
later than October 9th.
Yes. So you have exactly a month. Yes. Which is so much time.
So much time. But if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. And thank you again for joining us today and for sharing your questions. That will help everybody who watches this later to understand the platform more.
Yes, thank you all. And like I said before, we'll likely send another kind of like speaker follow-up powwow as recordings have been received, more of a like reminder for how it's going to flow for the actual live dates. Reminder that if you know for sure you wanted a Zoom link to let us know. Confirmation on moderators, confirmation on your day and time again, just kind of those pieces as you are like actually approaching the live dates. So we'll look for that in October. You don't have to stress about that now.